This is definitely a Macallan. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today I have the pleasure to taste the Macallan Gold. This is a whiskey from the 1824 series, and there is a video about this series in total, where I explain why this series of the 1824 exists, what is the specialty of this series, and why aren't there any longer the Macallan 12 years old on the market, or only in several markets, and the amounts of 12-year-old available is getting less and less. Here I will have a comparison between the gold and the old 12 years old, which is, from my personal beliefs, a benchmark of the whole branch of the Scottish whiskies, well, the unpeated but sherry cask whiskies. So the 12 years old is a benchmark against which every sherry cask whiskey has to compare. Well, there are some which are very close to the 12 years old, and there are some, well, very few which I think are better, and there are a lot which are worse. Okay, so I fill a small dram for the comparison here in a second glass. I will not taste this one because it would be, well, too hefty. I have 3 Macallans to go, and if I taste this one and the next one and the 12th one in comparison, then the next one, which will be the amber, and the 12, and then the ruby, no, the sienna, and the 12, and afterwards, yes, there will be no real differentiation possible, because my tasting buds in my mouth will go dumb. Yeah. So I have a look at the card box, and the most important here in front is called gold. That means this is not that dark, it's golden in color, and Macallan is not artificially coloring its whiskey, so the color in this whiskey is real, comes from the cask. And then they say exclusively matured in sherry oak cask from Jerez, Spain. So this one is 100% sherry cask whiskey. This is not very popular. Sherry casks have got very, very expensive. You pay around £500 for a cask, and this, well, increases the price of whiskey in production, and unfortunately sherry is out. So all those old ladies drinking sherry to their 5 o'clock tea, well, they're gone, and sherry is going down, and there are less and less sherry casks available, and the bodegas in Spain, well, they are lucky that all the whiskey distilleries ship their casks or pay for the casks as long as they're getting the casks afterwards for them. Yeah. But this does not mean it's first fill sherry cask. That means that the cask type is 100% sherry cask, but it does not say which wood type is used for the oak casks used in Jerez in Spain, because 80%, I heard that figure, or 2/3 of the casks in Spain are now from American white oak, because it's so much cheaper than the European oak. And that leads to smoother sherries, which the people like more. Well, and this is also good for the whiskey, because you do not have this bitterness, this chocolate taste, and so on. So this whiskey is matured in several different casks. First fill sherry casks from American white oak, first fill sherry casks from European white oak, second fill from the first, second fill from the second, third fill or multiple fills, and this leads to a mix in color which results in this gold. And as we proceed in the sequence of the 1824 series, then you see that the amber is a little darker and the sienna even more. So this one is the starting point, gold. On the back, what are they saying? The Macallan 1824 series has been created to showcase the beautiful range of natural color found in our whiskies, each expression becoming increasingly darker and more complex. Bob Dalgarno, the Macallan whiskey maker, has hand-picked individual 100% sherry oak casks to deliver the rich color that distinguishes this expression. A single malt of exemplary character and flavor. Bob Dalgarno, he did a wonderful job. He sniffed through all casks at Macallan, an extraordinary job, and he rated all the casks and put those casks in the computer, those ratings, and from these ratings they were able to select the right casks without picking the wrong one or have to compensate with another cask. So they were able, from this computed data, to bring out the right ones. A wonderful job, and and the consistency of the bottlings became better. The Macallan's 6 pillars. Number 1, the spiritual home. Easter Elchies House proudly watches over the distillery in Speyside, Scotland. Built in 1700, this Jacobean manor house is the Macallan spiritual home. It looks wonderful. I was there, and beside the Easter Elchies house there is the new offices lying beautifully in the landscape. Curiously small stills. Number 2. The Macallan curiously small and uniquely shaped copper stills help concentrate the flavor of the new make spirit. The smaller the stills are, the more intense the spirit is. And this is a specialty from Macallan, that they have a intense character from these stills. The finest cut. The Macallan takes one of the finest new make spirit cuts of any distillery in Scotland, typically a mere 16%. Well, if you have those small stills, the turbulence in the stills is very high, and you have to have a small cut. Otherwise, you have all those unwanted substances in your final product. And, all say that they have the best cut. Number 4, exceptional oak casks. The Macallan 1824 series is exclusively matured in sherry oak casks from Jerez, Spain. These casks are filled with aged sherries and left to mature before receiving our new make spirit. These casks are filled with aged sherries. So these casks are filled after the sherry is already aged? Sounds weird. Yeah. Number 5, natural color, a definite positive. The interaction of spirit and wood alone delivers the variety of rich natural colors that distinguish the Macallan range. Number 6, peerless spirit. The Macallan is celebrated far and wide by experts and discerning drinkers as the world's most precious whiskey. Yeah. That's it, I agree. Whiskey maker's notes. The whiskey maker is Bob Dalgarno, and he says this burnished gold spirit presents a lemon citrus nose, then orange peel. This is the distillery character, and an interlacing sweetness that softens but doesn't eliminate this zest. A quiet note of vanilla is followed by dark chocolate. This is from the casks. More assertive, yet not overly so, with lingering floral and light oak notes. Citrus and boiled sweets rule the palate, along with hints of ginger and cinnamon. White soft oak tones reveal toasted apples. The finish is medium sweet, malty and slightly dry. Yeah. So, have a look inside the bottle. sherry. So this one has 40% ABV, and this one is in the pricing below 50 euros. So 40 pounds, $40, $45. This is definitely a Macallan. The citrus note, the orange peel, sweet, and a not that strong sherry note. So it's more on the distillery character side, less on the oaky side. There's no bitterness of the cask showing up. There's very few spiciness showing. And now to compare. This is the same distillery character nose, but behind there is more spiciness, more oak, and a little more sweetness from the sherry. Yeah, this is also lighter in the aroma. They compare quite well, but this one is lighter and not that sherry laden and not that old. It's quite light on the tongue, and then the cask, the oak aroma is coming up, showing up. So this one might contain a big amount of refill sherry casks, which just tear out the tannins from the wall, the bitter tannins from the wall. It's not that bitter, it's spicy. So it might be more European, more American white oak, the softer one, and not the strong bitterness from European oak. This shows a little bit like the 12-year-old or 10-year-old fine oak, which contains also American white oak ex-bourbon casks. It's a little soft on the tongue. 3% ABV more would have been better. It has 40. And then the taste is showing up quite intense. So this is a typical Macallan, a little, not young, a little less intense than the typical Macallan we are used to. And so this one is really a starting point. And well, the longer I taste, I think it's a little bit more intense than the fine oak. So it lies between the fine oak and the sherry cask, but more on the fine oak side than on the sherry cask side. Yeah. Thank you for watching. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Next is coming up the Amber and then the Sienna. And if you would like to discuss this whiskey with me, please do so on our vlog on Whisky.com and in our forum on Whisky.com. Thank you.